I open my eyes to see the world, broken in my mirror. My heart yearns for a better one. The path is steep, and soon I find myself beset by bandits, ruining my plans that cast me into despair. This time, I open my eyes to darkness. I'm cushioned by a bed of corpses, the others who have tried. I started this journey to fix what I could see, but if I lay here with the others who have failed, soon the world will not bother me. An ancient rumble rouses me from sleep. It asks if I have finished failing. It says if I am humble, it will teach me all it knows and feed me what it grows. But if I become arrogant or burdened by foolishness, I will fall into an even deeper pit than this. Teach me, train me, beat me, lead me, I called out to the sage. I told him I was not afraid, but he did not believe me. 6 years passed in that ravine, where every day I tried to be the good the sage said he saw in me. 6 years passed before I could say goodbye, before I was free to live, and he to die. He crept into a hole, a grave, and I, alone but for his gifts, turned my gaze once more upon the cliffs. With my new vision I could see the cliffs were not as solid as they seemed, and with the wisdom of the sage I began to chip away. But still it was not easy. The winds whipped from all around to knock me from the cliffs and onto the ground. Wildlife came to test me. Scavengers would bite me if I dropped my guard, and predators would kill me. For 28 days I climbed that rock, making little progress, carving uncomfortable beds out of stone. Finally, I stood upon the summit, and I could see it all. Below me was the pit with all of those the cliffs had broken, and the teacher who had helped me live. On my right I saw a river which wound its way to the horizon. But so much illumination sent me to my knees. I had to close my eyes to keep it all from blinding me. And as I sat there in the darkness of my thoughts, at the peak of my success, I heard every wind that ever tried to knock me off my path together ask, "But where will you sleep tonight?" Worthless. Alone in my room as depression surges. What's the purpose? A feeling the promise of a better future, it's disservice. The occasional glimpse of heaven finds its way to my conscious mind. Never content, it only suggests, teasing me, taunting me, Tantalus. Hope is a fire they brought to my psyche. I pay for the price of that lie. Every day I stand on Olympus and look for the promise delivered. Eagles with talons and malice and beaks come down to chow down on my liver. One time they sent me to prison. It wasn't my fault, but they wouldn't listen. It's just a condition they set up: cognition of consciousness, knowledge of language, ambition. And just when I thought I had found my way out, I took a look at the sun and then started to drown. Never content, it only suggests, teasing me, taunting me, Tantalus. Sometimes I feel like Atlas, holding the whole world up on my back. Sometimes I feel like Odin, killing myself for knowledge potion. Sometimes I feel like Sisyphus, breaking my back to get to the top, then watching my progress roll down the hill and back to the start. Never content, it only suggests, teasing me, breaking my heart. Maybe you feel like Medusa, beauty's a curse that leads to abuse. Maybe you feel like Cassandra, who always spoke truth but was never listened to. Maybe you feel like Icarus, with success so potent you're getting sick of it. Maybe you feel like Atlas, with the earth on your back, giving you madness. Maybe you're demigod too, half god, half savage. Although everything external's fine, everything's pessimist here in my mind. It's like divine decree saw the things and said how things should be, but I alone misunderstood how hopeless things can seem. Is it a factor of birth? Am I on this earth to walk around lost then die in the dirt? So many people I see roam around lost, come to a lock, and then produce keys, all except me, or that's what I thought. But one day, when the sun set, I turned around in time to see an army of open doors following me like footsteps. I ran around the planet in an attempt to understand as I talked to all the people, tried to figure out who planned it, and it turns out all the people that I talked to, everybody got the struggle that I struggle with, and even those who made it know exactly what I'm going through, but there isn't just a single way, so even if I listen as they gave me their directions, all our starting points are different and our destinies are different. And though nobody can do it all for anybody else, you can listen to how they made it through, so you can help yourself, and then when someone comes to you, you can help them too, because by then you won't be selfish. And one day, when the sun sets, you'll turn around in time to hear a crowd of strangers lost asking you for directions. To my children I must come clean. Your humble father was a thief. When people came into my store and asked what I had to show, I said, "Sir, madam, friend or foe, I'm a simple merchant. I have only what your eyes can see." Every bauble on display was polished bright so it would please, but I kept the best stuff in the cellar just for me. If I put my greatest treasures from the cellar on display, I was worried they would look at them, spit on them, and say, "This is garbage, old and useless, dirty, cracked, and broken. I've seen better in 100 stores. How dare you call yourself a treasure?" I'm ashamed to say I thought this way for many, many years, terrified that if I put my treasures in the light, they would break my little heart, so I was only ever proud of them at night or in the dark. But something awful happened to me just the other week. I went down to my depths with my key in my hand to open the vault, to stand there and covet, to bask in the glow of my lantern on gold. But imagine my horror when I opened the door and saw that my art had started to mold. What could I do? I rushed, I flew. I gathered my treasures in armfuls and bagfuls and started to run. I knocked all my counterfeits down to the floor and hung up my treasures so they could be healed by the sun as it entered my store. Then people came from all around to see the things that I had found. "This is beautiful, magical, stunning," they said. "You live in our town, you know what came next." All of the merchants went running to gather their treasure and set them to sunning. Now the little street in our humble town is full of nice things, the nicest around. And I went to the cellar and tore down the door, and made it a table to put in my store. So go tell the neighbors and tell them to bring something dirty or cracked. I once was a thief, now I'm giving it back. Treading water, slowly sinking, thinking how I came to drink this foul water I'm now drinking. Was it fear that sunk me to such depths? Was it lack of sense or intellect? Was I blind? Was I deaf? Am I drowning now in questions I was once too proud to ask? I wonder with my death breath how I wronged me, as I slip beneath the waves to join my follies in our grave. But alas, my foot hits earth and thus I'm saved. With my head up thrust to heaven and my feet on tiptoes stepping, I, like a spider, like an old spider, like a hungry old spider moving slowly towards that final fly, concoct a pretty plan, for tonight I shall not die. I move in each direction, seeking elevation in this life-saving endeavor, never stopping, never stalling, and though some would send me sprawling into the abyss, there was one direction which by chance I did not miss. And as I tiptoed on this narrow path for hours with the little life I salvaged, I looked above and saw my life projected on the clouds. A young man with thoughts of the world, thoughts of himself and the world, committing bad blunders, mislabeling them good deeds. I walk the lands, a young man with much to do and much to see. An older man now I see in the clouds, above my head while I'm drowning, neither diving nor rising as I attempt to dispel the mistakes that surround me. I move slowly, but with great purpose, testing left and right, but always forward, searching surface. Hours pass, the sun is setting, mind and body getting heavy, getting ready for the fate that I have sent me. When suddenly my eyes, which seemed forever doomed to search the sky, affix upon a bright beach drawing nigh. I thrust myself upon the shore and shout, "Surely heaven knows no finer floor." These tiny grains of life have saved me from the end. I will construct a house of them, and though it will slip into the sea, the world has returned to me, and I, at last, have peace.